Hi, second graders. It's Mr. Schaefer. I'm here to talk to you more about polygons. Last week, we learned a whole lot about polygons. A lot of it was brand new information. Today, we're going to be learning more. So today, we're going to be learning about how to organize two-dimensional shapes, or polygons. Last week, we learned that polygons have geometric attributes, which is a big word, but it's just different categories that shapes can have. So we can talk about the number of vertices a shape has. We can talk about the number of sides a shape has. We can talk about whether a shape is regular or irregular. And we can talk about the number of pairs of parallel lines a shape has. So let's talk about this shape. Take a minute and look at this shape. See what you notice about this shape. If you were to describe this shape to me, what would you be able to say about it? Would you be able to talk about the number of sides it has? How many sides does this shape have? It has 4, which makes it a quadrilateral. Would you be able to talk about the number of vertices this shape has? How many vertices does this shape have? It has 4 again. Would you be able to talk about whether the shape is regular or irregular? Remember last week we learned that a polygon can be regular if all of its sides are the same length and all of the vertices are the same. So let's look and see if this shape is regular. So I see this side is short, and then it has some long sides too. It has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. So we know that this polygon cannot be regular. So we would call it an irregular polygon. Now, if we're talking about the pairs of parallel lines, how many pairs of parallel lines does this shape have? Let's look. These 2 lines are parallel. I know this because if they went on, they would always stay the same distance apart. They would never cross. So that's 1 pair of parallel lines. Let's look at the other lines in this shape. I see this line and this line. Are these parallel? Yes, they are, because they're always going to stay the same distance apart. They're never going to cross. So how many pairs of parallel lines does this shape have? 1 pair, 2 pairs. 2 pairs of parallel lines. So if we were going to talk about the geometric attributes of this shape, which is a parallelogram, we could say that it has 4 sides, it has 4 vertices, it's an irregular polygon, and it has 2 pairs of parallel lines. Okay, now let's think about all the polygons that we've been learning about lately. I know it's a lot. We've got a trapezoid here. This is a square, but it's also a rectangle. It's also a parallelogram, and it's also a rhombus. And you learned a little bit about how those categories can overlap sometimes. This shape is a hexagon. We know because it has 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This shape is a triangle. This shape is a parallelogram. And this shape is a rhombus. It's also a parallelogram. But it has to be a rhombus also because all of its sides are the same length. Why is it not a square? It has sides that are all the same length. Why is this not a square? Because its corners are not all the same. It's not a regular polygon. A square is a regular polygon. All right, so let's talk about different attributes that these polygons have. How can we organize these polygons by attribute? Which attribute should we use? We just talked about 4. Let's look at their vertices first. So I'm going to fill in this graphic organizer. I have shape, name, attribute up at the top. So I'm going to be talking about number of vertices. So I wrote that up at the top where it says attribute. What's my first shape? This right here. What's this called again? A trapezoid. I wrote the name of the shape right here under name. Now, how many vertices could my polygons have? I see one that only has 3. And I see one that has 6. So I need to make sure that I have all of those different attributes listed on my chart. So I'm going to start with 3, 4, 5, and 6. Will all my polygons be able to fit on this chart? Yes, they will. So how many vertices does a trapezoid have? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So where am I going to put my x? Do I put it under 3, 4, 5, or 6? Well, it has 4 vertices, so I'm going to put my x under 4. Let's do another shape. What's my next shape? I'm going to write my square, which is also a rectangle, a parallelogram, and a rhombus. How many vertices does my square have? 1, 2, 3, 4. It also has 4, so I'm going to draw my x right under 4 again. Let's look at the next two shapes. I see my next one is a hexagon. I already drew it and I already wrote it. How many vertices does my hexagon have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So where am I going to draw my x? Right under 6. See where it says 6? I drew my x under 6. Next shape is a triangle. How many vertices does a triangle have? Sure, you know by now, 3. So I'm going to draw my x under 3. I think by now you're probably catching on to how I'm filling out my graphic organizer. So your assignment today is to do your own graphic organizer, but you're going to be using a different attribute. You're going to be using number of sides instead of vertices. And this is something you're going to do on your own. So you're going to draw in your shapes. And then you have to write the name of each shape. And then you're going to think about how many sides they all have. What can you write up here over top of each column so you can make sure that you have enough that all of these shapes are going to fit into one of those categories? That's what you have to think about. And you're going to write your number of sides up here. You're going to fill out the names, and you're going to draw your X's wherever they belong. If you have any questions, get in touch with me today. And that is everything for today. Bye, guys. Have an awesome day.